Hey everybody, and welcome. This is the JVology Live Show. I'm your host, Krista Anakovsky, and today we are going to be talking about all things podcasting. How to make it easier, how to make sure you're making money with it, because doing a podcast as a hobby with no profit at the end is just kind of a waste of time. So we brought in Tony G, who is a fantastic, very experienced in both the entrepreneurial and corporate space, is going to be sharing with us all about a giveaway that's coming up and things that you don't want to miss out. So a big welcome to you, Tony. How's it going today?
Great. Thanks so much for having me on today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. So for those of you who are maybe new or watching this for the first time, JVology, we are the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. We are a community that brings together entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, coaches, authors, speakers, and thought leaders to really dive into the art and science of profitable joint ventures, which means building relationships amongst your peers that can help you get your message out. And what better way to do that than podcasting? And that's exactly why Jay wanted to have you here today, talking to our audience, your audience, and whoever else is out there watching to know more about what we can do. Podcast is a big thing right now. So yeah, give me a little quick snippet. Then I do want to tell our audience more about your background.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been in marketing for over 20 years, working with everyone from Jennifer Lopez to Jay-Z to Ford Motor Company and Google. So I've been around for a while, both in the corporate world as well as in the small business space. And roughly a decade ago, I started my own digital marketing agency to help, average small businesses become profitable and really help them get out there. And I launched a book. So I did a book. And what do? You do a book tour. Of course, you do podcasts. So I did 86 podcast interviews last year. And I realized that most podcasters and their guests, for that matter, just aren't profitable. They're not making money. And so I decided like a year ago to start a software company and giveaway to help solve that problem.
All right. So a couple questions before we dive into that. What's your book? What's the name of the book? What was it about?
Small Steps to Big Profits. It's not released yet. I was doing an interview tour for promotion, so it's going to be released early next year. But it's all about how to take small steps to become to grow a profitable business.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that. I do. In the work that I love to teach right now, I'm talking a lot about habits, and it's about creating those small incremental behavior changes that then become your habit. So it's the small things that make a big difference. So I love it.
Yeah, you get a compound effect. Actually, the book was inspired by my mother, who had, she grew up in a similar time to what we're dealing with today. So back in the late 30s, there, of course, was the polio pandemic, and she couldn't. And so she couldn't walk, from the time she was a baby. Her dream was always to wear high heels. And so, she took small steps. And so initially, she was working with pottery to gain some strength in her hands. And then, then she got to the point where she was swimming, and then she was walking between bars. And that lesson of taking small steps, making a little progress each day to get to your end goal is something that I apply every single day of my life, both personally, but also from a business perspective.
That's really fantastic. Now you mentioned Jay-Z, you mentioned J-Lo. I wanted to just kind of throw out there because your background is really impressive, and it's not just about being impressive, but you showing the work that you've done. And I know that you've grown, says over 10,000 small businesses and a dozen Fortune 500 companies. Everything from ADP to Ford, AutoNation, and became the Google Partner of the Year. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so actually it relates to joint ventures. So I did one of the first really large joint ventures in the digital marketing space. So what I did and how I got to become Google's Partner of the Year is I did a joint venture between Google and Ford Motor Company and grew those accounts to the point where we were spending like $400 million. And, joint ventures are very, very powerful. And, it's done all the time in corporate. I mean, a lot of people think, given my background of spending hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising, that's how you grow. But the fact is the biggest companies in the world grow through co-marketing and joint ventures. And that's something that I saw was missing in the small business space, which is why I joined JVology, but also in the podcasting space. So my software brings a lot of those ideas into that world.
Oh, that's fascinating. Fascinating. And then it says that later you return to your entrepreneurial roots, and of course you're bringing tons of strategy and tactics and resources that normally are reserved for those large companies, but you're taking that experience and knowledge and bringing it right here to small business. And with that, you've created a podcast software, or a
Yeah,
software that's going to help podcasters. Uh,
correct.
Castosity. So I would love to hear more about what that is, because we have a lot of members in our JVology community who are podcasters, and some have been at it for a long time with a lot of success.
Yeah.
Others are just getting into it. And I also know that there's a learning curve there, and some people will end up quitting before they even have a chance to get going, because, as you know, more even better than I do, that it takes a lot to get it off the ground.
Yeah.
And people, I think, can just fizzle out before they have that chance. So
Yeah.
tell us, what does Castosity do, and how can it help?
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing too about Castosity is not just for podcasters; it's actually for people that are guests on podcasts. So it's both. So it's podcast,
Oh, cool.
and so you may not even have the time or resources or money to even start a podcast. So maybe you just want to be a guest. And the nice thing is the system works for those folks as well. But to answer your question, what I found is two of the biggest problems with a podcast, both on the guest side and as a podcaster, that you spend all this time in editing and recording all this, and virtually no time in the marketing and monetization. And that's really what the system is built to do, is help you automate your marketing and the monetization of your show. Or in the case of being interviewed, for instance, this interview, I can automate all the marketing necessary to promote that I was on the show by a click of a button.
Wow. And really, it's about scaling. It's about getting into systems that's going to make the things that we do easier.
Right.
And there's no way to replace this live interaction, because that's what's fun, right? Here, where this will be turned into a podcast. We've got the video. So your time and my time need to be here, because this is our personalities. But as far as the promotion of it and getting it out after the fact, the more we can streamline and automate it, the better. We don't want to be spending hours on the back end.
Correct. And so, if you can imagine, and this was my circumstance. So it's funny, I've been talking about this a lot lately. I'm going to coin this term, but I essentially re-engineered my life. And so I was in Connecticut. It was kind of cold. I said, okay, what do I want? Well,
Kind
number
of
one,
cold.
I would like to be in a warmer area. So I moved to Austin. I was like, okay, great. Next thing, I love my agency, but what would be better than that? So I started a software company. And as I was thinking with Castosity, when I was on a show, just even being interviewed, I would have to have a graphic designer to build the banner ads and the social media posts. I'd need a writer to write the social media content, and maybe the emails. And then, of course, I need a project manager to organize this, and maybe a VA. And so the software really replaces all those roles, because it's
Mhm.
automated now. So now it automatically creates my emails, my social media posts, my graphics, and literally I can wake up and just have everything done for me and just publish it. And what's nice is it automatically creates it for me as a podcaster, but also for my guests. So it really helps them market the show as well. If I'm a podcaster, if I'm just a guest, then I get all the assets created for me as well.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. And the more appealing you are as a guest, that doesn't hurt either, right? When you're bringing something to the table and you get known for, like, hey, Tony's a great guest and he's bringing these other resources along, then it just helps you get booked all the more.
Right.
Now, Tony, I know that you have a giveaway coming up that we really want to invite everybody at JVology, everybody who's watching, to participate in. So share with us what the giveaway that you have coming up.
Yeah, so it's going on now, so people can register right now. They go to podcasting giveaway, which I know you're going to put the link in the notes and
Yeah, it's in the chat right now.
Yeah, perfect. But what it really is, it's very different, because I always like to do things a little bit differently. And so giveaways are great, but how can you make them better? And that's why I said, well, why not add prizes and deals to it? And so what it has is I was able to get many of the top podcast brands like Riverside, like Podfest, like different kinds of microphone companies, to give me a bunch of prizes that I give away absolutely free. So say you're starting to you want to start a podcast, you probably want to have a good microphone. Why not win one? And so we have great prizes. We also have amazing gifts. So these are a lot of free content, mini courses. I know Jay has one in there as well. So there's a bunch of gifts, and then there's also deals. So in fact, that's how I'm launching my software, with a special deal. So we're doing a lifetime deal for it, so you can get it, for a fraction of the price of what it's going to be, for those early adopters. But then I said, why not? It's not about me. I want to make it about everybody in the community. So I got special deals to get ridiculous hosting, from top brands, to get that microphone. So say you don't win it, you can get a discount. So ridiculous deals for events, prizes, gifts, software, you name it.
Oh my gosh, that's see, all of your genius marketing mind has come together to make this giveaway unique. So Tony, is this not only for people who are just starting or thinking about a podcast, or they already have one? Is there a certain level of sophistication podcasting that someone needs to be to take advantage of this?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So we're really serving three kinds of audiences.
Okay.
And so my mission as a company, both with Castasi as well as with the giveaway, is to make podcasting profitable. And that really impacts three kinds of people. Number one, podcasters who want to monetize their show and they're just not making money, because 99% of podcasters just really aren't profitable. They're not living off of the income. And so that's the first audience. The second audience is aspiring podcasters. These are people that maybe want to start a podcast but don't know where to start. And then number three are people that maybe just want to guest on podcasts. Maybe they don't, they don't have the desire to do a podcast, but they want to still take advantage and kind of tap into this growing market. And so they can participate as well. And so, for instance, some of the top podcast booking agencies that get you booked on podcasts, like Podmatch and the legendary Lead Gen, they're all participating as well and giving free access to their platforms, giving you special deals as well as gifts. So it really serves pretty much anyone that wants to tap into podcasting.
All right, fantastic. So everybody out there, just click the link in the comments and get registered for the podcastinggiveaway.com/win and all that good stuff there. That way you can, just taking advantage of it. Like you've been, I would do it just to know what microphone you recommend, let alone how to get a discount and then possibly even win. So this is really great stuff. We do have a question in the comments. It says, Tony, in your opinion, what is the key to have a successful podcast with an engaged audience?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the way I look at podcasting, you first have to define success. And success usually comes in three areas. You want to grow your audience, you want to grow your impact, and you want to grow your income. Those are really the three areas. And each one requires a little bit of a different strategy. So if you want to grow your audience, then co-marketing is absolutely one of the best things you can do. So meaning having an interview-based show and inviting folks, they market the show, you can leverage their audience and kind of work together to grow your audience. And that's one of the things the platform helps you do. If you want to have an impact, very similar approach, but that's more for nonprofits, or maybe you just have a special mission. But then, of course, revenue. A lot of us want to make money off the podcast. And what's nice about this is I have some ideas in this, but one of the things the giveaway has as well is I'm also interviewing over 100 of the top thought leaders in exactly how they're making money. And I can tell you, there are so many ways. I've learned a lot personally. I used to think, oh, you just get sponsors, or maybe you just get interviews to bring in leads for new clients. But there are hundreds of ways to monetize that. It's just crazy. So you can learn a lot just by listening to these experts. They're super short interviews. They're about 8 minutes. And I really get to the meat of how, I'm very direct. I'm like, how are you making money off the podcast? Share your best secrets, and boom, that's it. So if you want to learn ways, because I can give you my perspective, but why not listen to 100 of the top people sharing what they know?
That's fantastic. All right, so the podcasting giveaway is coming up. Go ahead and sign up for that now. And when they do, I'm sure they'll be able to learn more about your software that we were talking about, Castosity. And Castosity is going to help make your life as a podcaster or a podcast guest easier and more refined, getting that marketing message out and after the fact, right?
Yeah, and one thing I didn't mention, I mentioned the marketing part of podcasts, the monetization. The way the system helps with that is, great, you have all this distribution for your podcast, by automatically putting on social media, email, etc. But why not incorporate your offers into it? And so what the
Mm.
software does is automatically incorporates your affiliate and joint venture offers as well as your own offers into those same marketing assets that are created. So now you don't have to, figure out where did I put this affiliate code. I had to remember I had to put it in 20 places. I, copy and paste it incorrectly. So it eliminates a lot of those mistakes that, copy and paste mistakes. Also saves a lot of time and effort and makes sure that you have consistency, which is really the key to growth, is really having something that's very predictable and repeatable.
All right, that's great. Yeah, I appreciate how much um, value and all of your experience that you bring, and it's fantastic that now you're really, at least for this moment in time, diving in deep into podcasting and helping us make it profitable, make it worthwhile, and have fun with it. I mean, it really can be a fun platform to do, especially if you enjoy talking to people and help getting each other's message out.
Yeah,
Storytelling is awesome. It's the way we should, express, learn.
yeah, it's one of the most influential things you can do. Stories, analogies, very powerful thing. It goes right to the emotion. And and something I've been talking to a lot of people about lately, and it just keeps coming up with a recurring theme, is just the emotion comes before kind of that's the first thing in a sale, is to transfer into a feeling. And podcasts help you communicate that story so you can get that feeling across, and ultimately that will help you make sales in the end.
Great. All right, before I let you go, I just wanted to ask if you have any interesting stories with the people that you've worked with. You've mentioned a couple of big celebrity names. Anyone that you really enjoyed working with, or something kind of fun to throw in here?
Oh gosh, I've worked with so many people, but let's see. Well, I mean, the way I got Jay Z, for instance, as a client was I had won the product of the year at the New York Incentive Show, and so what I did, it was kind of funny. I launched there a product that did what it was a business that did cakes, but we printed photos on it, which is kind of common now. But I had one of the first, cake printers, and we came up with the technology to actually be able to mail that cake across the country. And so I was at this trade show. One of his agents came up to me. We got them as a client. But the funny thing about the story is the way I marketed it was through cookies. And so anyone that went to my trade show booth, they could pick up a cookie with their photo on it. And I got written up in a bunch of direct marketing magazines. But what was really unexpected was people asked to buy them. And to me, it was just a marketing stunt. And
Oh,
I was like, they were like, how much are the cookies? I was like, I don't know. So I just made up a number. I was like, they're $3. And I ended up selling a lot of cookies, and the markup was ridiculous because the cost of a cookie is like 10 cents. And so I just but the lesson learned is just take a step. And it kind of goes back to the small steps. Like, I know you don't necessarily know where the opportunities are going to come from, but if you're in the right place with the right people and you take advantage of the opportunities, doors will just open for you. And that's really how I got Jay-Z and all these, big corporate names back when I was just coming out of college at that point when I did that.
wow, that's a great story. All right, well, everybody who's watching, you are in the right place at the right time to take advantage of an incredible gift giveaway. So grab the link there on the podcasting giveaway. Join Tony and all of his experts, and let's take your podcasting to the next level.
Great.
Tony, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the JVology live show. Join us right where you're seeing it now. We have amazing guests that come in and help you continue to grow your business. And we've got Jay always coming in with some amazing tips on how to grow through joint ventures. And we're better together, right? That's our key line, better together. And glad that you're joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Take care.